Hello, my loves. It's Tiffany, the Miracles Coach. So, can I just say how happy I am to see the last day of July? I am not sad to see this month go, if I'm being honest. It's been a month. It's been the craziest month I've had in a long time. I was just saying in my last audio how the growth this year has been so less painful than the past few years. But yeah, this month was just like, oh, you think things are easier? Okay. Anyway. From around the end of 2019 to mid 2025, it was rough. And I felt like I was getting my ass kicked in a fight I didn't even know I was in. In hindsight now, I'm starting to understand why that was the case, given all that I've unearthed in the past few months. But like these past few years, July really challenged me and it grew me. And even though I'm not one to back down from a challenge, and I'm always grateful for growth because I know it's only meant to make us stronger, wiser, better, richer, you know? And I definitely believe that that's the case for me right now. I really feel like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and you may feel like that too, or maybe you're not feeling the rise part yet, but trust me, you'll get there. There is a collective shift happening right now for those of us who know we are called and chosen to do great work in the world. And although having to go through what feels like constant pain and struggle and disappointment sucks sometimes, we have to be grateful for the wisdom that we accumulate, because that is what equips us for our journey and for our own evolution, but also for the work that we do in the world to help guide and support the people God places on our path, right? Also, I've been around long enough to know that things falling apart around you, that feeling of all hell breaking loose, is one of the biggest indicators of massive change and breakthrough. So I've just had to learn how to make peace with the chaos and befriend it to extract the wisdom from it. I don't make it mean the end of my story or that things aren't going to work out in my favor. It's quite the contrary, actually, because it's more often than not simply clearing space for something new. So if 2026 has not been looking like the year you expected or feel like God promised you, and this month or the past few months or even past few years have been tough for you, let me shed some light on a few things for you. And I'm going to share what God showed me this morning. This is the 7th month of the year. In scripture, the number 7 is known as the number of completion because it represents completeness, fullness, divine perfection, God's finished work. And there are tons of stories in scripture that confirm this. So I'll give you a couple examples, right? God completing creation and resting on the 7th day in Genesis, or how the Israelites were instructed to march around the city of Jericho for 7 days and on the 7th day march around it 7 times for the walls to fall. This symbolizes how the number 7 in the Bible often shows something that is being brought to completion according to God's timing. Also, if you're into angel numbers and you've been seeing the number 7 constantly, like I have lately, oh my God, it's constant everywhere. It is often considered a sign that you're ready for a major shift and that the path is opening for it. It's also known to show up after a difficult time or experience to let you know that a season of personal growth is about to pay off. Also, I have to note this because when I was gathering my thoughts and jotting down a few notes for this message, I looked up and saw that the time was 1:11 and my battery was at 77%. Like, I literally can't make this stuff up. And anyone who knows me knows how much I adore words and numbers, right? Like low key. And honestly, I might even be high key obsessed. Also, 11 is my favorite number and 7 is my second favorite number. So all of that to say, if you've been going through a tough time, God sent me to encourage you today and to tell you that this season is coming to a close. If you truly believe you've been doing the work and you've been confused about why things don't seem to be unfolding the way you feel God has promised, trust that you are at the end of that season of waiting and it's time for something new. By the way, it's about to be 1:17 on the time right now as I'm recording this as well. Just saying, like I said, I can't make this stuff up and it might not be big to you, but I believe that God sends us signs and synchronicities all the time through numbers, and there it is, 1:17. So God is doing a new thing, all right? And August is here. By the time I edit this and put it up for you, it will be August. And August is one of my favorite months and begins the ushering of my favorite time of year, okay? Everybody who knows me knows how much I love fall, and August is the 8th month of the year and what I like to call the month of new beginnings because that is the spiritual meaning of the number 8. And it's often viewed as the number of bringing the invisible into the visible because that's what happens after completion. Moving forward, receiving and creating from all that wisdom you've accumulated in that tumultuous, stormy season. So I'm really excited for August and the new beginnings energy that it brings. And I want you to grab a hold of it too, okay? Literally make everything mean, even the things that don't feel good or look good on the surface, that the tides are turning in your favor. Not about to turn, okay? Because we also have to really watch our language when we're talking about the things that we are creating. We're not talking about, we're not talking about going to, we're not talking about will, we're talking about now, are turning in the present. It's already turned if you want to even go there, have turned, right? Like past tense, present tense. That's how you want to speak. You don't want to talk about what's going to happen. I would get on that future thing, but I'm not even going to get on that today because I don't have time. I have too much notes here to cover and I have too much that I want to share with you. But I promise you, I'm going to come back and talk about this future stuff that people like to do because we're going to stop that too. All right. But understand that the 3D and everything that you're seeing in your reality right now is just old news. It's the outpicturing of what has already occurred. And what you choose right now today going forward is what creates what you experience next. Remember, you are the cause. You are the creator. You are the catalyst. Everything happens at the speed of your choice. And as a matter of fact, we talked about choice and decision, of course, but even more specifically, the 6 decisions. And I recently added a 7th, and I thought that I was going to get to that today, but I don't think I will. I'm going to share it with you in the next audio. But some key decisions that I made over the past year that have transformed my life and put me in the perfect position to receive the millions in miracles God promised me at the beginning of this year. It's called the Millionaire Code, and the full framework where I break down the entire process in greater detail will live in the realm in the Millionaire Portal. It's literally the foundation of that portal. And here I'm sharing with you the story, which really just tells you about a bunch of seemingly random decisions I made and what I'm seeing as a result. And I want you to know them, sit with them, and feel them, like really let them speak to your life right now. Each decision I made, devotion, self-concept, sovereignty, support, regulation, freedom. And there were many others, of course, but these were the main and most important ones that I felt created and informed all the other decisions. Like I mentioned, they layer and compound, and every decision births new decisions, but each one has its own process and practice behind it. This is the information, right? This is what I'm sharing with you here on YouTube. But in the realm, you get the full integration. You get the full understanding of how you apply this to your own life as I walk you through the exact steps of how I did this. And then you get to practice it until these are no longer concepts, but your nervous system's default, until they become new ways of being in the world. And that's what changes your reality. These become your new identity, and the new identity shifts the reality. And I want to go a little deeper with this because, like I told you in the last audio, I can teach for hours on decision. And actually, I have in some of the teachings already in the realm. I also recorded a lot more for the audio that you got last week, but I decided to cut that audio at around 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to get so lucky this week with doing that because I really want to get all of this out today. And I don't want to keep, prolonging this message because I think it's really, really important. So I guess I'm going to make this like a part 2 and I'll share the rest of it with you now. So this one might be a little longer today, just FYI. But one of the first things I want to make sure I mention is that I wanted to share a quote with you last week, something that came up while I was recording, but I didn't remember the exact wording and I wasn't in a position to look it up then. So I made sure to make a note of it for today. This quote by Amanda Frances is in her book, Rich as Blank F, which is one of my favorite books, by the way, that I've ever read. And she's also one of my favorite mentors. If you don't know Amanda Frances, you absolutely should, okay? But she talks early on in the book, I think it's in the first or second chapter, about how to activate your power and how to create a new life and a new realm of possibility for yourself. And you do this by simply deciding to. That's basically what she says in the book. And then she goes on to say, and this is the quote, "There is massive power in your decision. There's actually nothing greater than your energetic and internal decision." Energetic decision, right? It's so much more than just like a mental or logistical kind of decision. It's not something, you like checking off your to-do list or whatever. It's the kind of decision that happens at the level of your being before it actually shows up as an action. So it's not like I just decided to do X. It's not like some simple, okay, I just decided that I was going to have toast for breakfast. Like, it's not like that. It's the frequency you decided to occupy while you made the decision. Oh my God. I have so much I can say about this, but I'm gonna try to keep it contained. Okay. So look at it like this. Two people can make the exact same outward decision. So let's say they launch the same offer. They start the same type of YouTube channel, send the same type of email, show up on the same call, and get completely different outcomes and results because one of them decided, for example, from fear or pushing or forcing or proving, and the other one decided from devotion, joy, from already having it, like knowing that it's already yours and that you're not seeking something outside of yourself. Same decision on paper, completely different energy underneath it, and that's the difference. That is what makes it energetic. That's the energetic part. And that part might be easy for you to nod along to because you've heard, okay, you need to raise your vibration, match the frequency. That language is everywhere now, all over the internet. But internal, and it's funny because when I couldn't remember the freaking quote last week. And then it popped up in my mind not too long after I recorded the audio and I was like, right, of course. But I still had it wrong. So I'm glad that I went back to the book to double check it because I actually only had energetic decision. I remembered the word energetic, but I didn't remember the word internal. And internal sharpens the point even further because that part means the decision has to be settled within you, somewhere where nobody else can see it. It's the version of the decision that exists even in the moments you're alone, when there's no audience, nobody to convince you, nobody there to witness whether you're serious or you actually meant it or not, nobody to validate it for you. That's the difference between a decision that is purely energetic and a decision that's energetic and internal. Because you can make a decision that looks bold and audacious or powerful from the outside and it still not be internal, because it's still waiting on or requiring something external to solidify it. When it's internal, it's already complete inside of you. It's already done, which is exactly why it can create a doorway to your desire before there's an ounce of evidence. Oh my God, I really need y'all to get this today. I'm literally probably giving y'all stuff that should be in the realm, but I felt this really strongly today and I had to share it, okay? The internal part is what makes your decision durable enough and strong enough to withstand and survive the gap between deciding and seeing. Because if the decision only exists externally, the moment the 3D doesn't reflect the back fast enough, then really we're just revealing that it wasn't a real decision. It'll just show us that, it was just a fleeting hope or wish or some kind of fantasy or whatever. You didn't actually mean it. You weren't actually committed to it. You didn't actually claim it, right? And a really good example of this is me deciding that I'm a millionaire this year. Notice I didn't say that I'm going to be or that I'm becoming. I am a millionaire this year, whether the evidence is in my bank account or not right at this minute, okay? Now, granted, I do have an unfair advantage here because this word came straight from God. God gave me this word, so I already knew that it was legit. Like, I didn't have to question it. I know the source, right? And I knew that the source was correct, and I could trust the source from which it came, because I could have questioned it. I could have said, oh, well, was that really you, God? Did you really say that? I could have questioned it like a lot of people would have, but I didn't, because I knew deep within that it was coming from God. I took it and ran with it because I trusted that I'm close enough to God to know his voice, first of all. And that's something really important too. You got to know your source really, really well. Like, you got to know your source inside and out, because this is why it made sense to me. Maybe a year ago it wouldn't have made sense, but it made sense in January because I knew I had done a ton of work. I knew that I had transformed my self-concept. I knew that I was a completely different person. What's interesting is that I told you guys back in May of last year, when my mentor used to talk about millions all the time, I couldn't grab a hold of it. But as soon as God said it in January, I knew immediately that it was for me. I knew that he was speaking to me. I was kind of surprised, but it didn't shock me. It wasn't shocking to me because there was an inner knowing. Like, I just knew that it's time. You know what I mean? And it's what I had been calling in. It was what I had been doing. And I knew that the work I had been doing supported it. But at the end of the day, I never doubted the message for 1 minute. And even now, while I'm in the gap, right? While I'm in the in-between, while I'm in the messy middle, I'm not questioning it because I made a decision when God told me that it was going to happen. I made a decision. Okay, God, this is what you said, bet. Then I surrendered the how, the when, the plan, the questions, the doubts, the fears, all of the things that might have tried to come up and deter me. And I just started embodying it by simply being the millionaire now. I would say acting like, but I'll just say practicing being a millionaire now, right? And I didn't need evidence because I didn't need the 3D to tell me otherwise. I didn't need anything outside of me to show me or prove to me what I already knew and who I already am. I'm a miraculous millionaire who is one with the source of all things and has the power to collapse time and bend reality. Because to be honest, this is what most people are doing and then wondering why manifestation doesn't work for them. They're saying affirmations. They're putting stuff on their vision board. They're journaling about the life that they want instead of simply being the damn thing. See, that's the difference between 5D, 4D, and 3D creation, which I will break down for you in the provision portal in the realm. Because the real energetic and internal decision needs nothing outside of itself for permission, validation, or proof. So when Amanda says there's nothing greater than your energetic and internal decision, what I believe she's saying is that the energy and the vibration you decide from is actually the thing doing the creating. Oh my God, please don't miss this, okay? Most people think it's the actions, the plan, the strategy, the how, and all the external stuff that makes things happen. You know how people like to say, fail to plan, plan to fail. I used to see that little quote around all the time when I was young. It's a cute little saying, I guess. But what actually matters is the energy and the vibration you're in when you make the decision. It's the certainty underneath it, because the right actions, the right plan, the right strategy, conditions, circumstances, and the how all flow from that frequency. and this is how I am when I'm really teaching something deep, because I slow down a lot. I'm trying not to slow down because I don't have that kind of time today, because I got to record this for you, edit it, and get it up tonight at some point, right? Normally I record these ahead of time and then I edit and then I get them up on Friday, but I didn't do that this week because this popped up. But everything flows from that frequency, okay? Some people even say that it's the energy that makes the actions hit different, but I don't believe that either, because it's actually where they come from in the first place. That's the origin of it. The certainty is what directs you and shows you what actions to take. Just like how I was explaining in a couple audios ago, how my husband and I literally were just kind of propelled into building our house. Like, all I was doing was sitting and meditating. I wasn't doing anything else. There were no other actions being taken besides following my intuition when God said, go to this place, go look at this house, go talk to this person, whatever. I was being it, honestly, without even realizing it, like I said. The certainty is what directs you and shows you the actions that you need to take. And that's the order that most people have backwards. They make the mistake of trying to figure out the how and nail the plan first, because they believe that that's what creates the certainty. Oh, if I have this, then I know that it's going to happen. Oh, if I have all my ducks in a row, if I do A, B, C, D, E, and F, this is what's going to be the outcome. But no, it's the other way around. That's why I choose to only create from overflow, like today. From joy, from fun, peace, regulation, instead of pushing and proving and performing and struggling and forcing, because it's not necessary. I let God lead me. And even weeks when I don't have a message, which I already had one planned for this week, but it totally got hijacked by this message. But even when I don't have content, I used to be like, oh my God, what am I going to talk about this week? I don't even worry about it anymore. If a message doesn't come through by Tuesday or Wednesday, which is typically when I like to get the messages done, I still know that it's coming. Sometimes they come in on a Thursday night when I'm just sitting down listening to something else or doing something else or watching something else. I trust the process. I let the overflow happen. And I also have fun in my life. And I don't make my whole life about my business anymore like I used to. But that's a conversation for a different day, okay? What I really want to talk about today is decision. Because like I said last week, we really tend to underestimate how important and powerful our decisions are. And if we want to go even deeper, what God showed me recently was that decisions are actually portals. Because every decision I made and all the decisions that you make, they become literal doorways or portals into new worlds, new beginnings, new possibilities, timelines, dimensions, and realities you wouldn't have been able to access from where you were standing before. Remember how I named the subjects in the realm portals with the same idea in mind? A portal, at its core, is an opening between one reality and another, an entrance or a threshold, a crossing point. You enter and you're already on the other side. There's no time in between. Like, there's nothing in between. It's just you enter the portal and you're in it. And that's true whether we're talking about a portal in the realm or otherwise, other portals that you unlock in your life. Everything about a portal is instantaneous, which is exactly why I believe God gave me the revelation about each space you enter in the realm being an acceleration portal. And I realize now in hindsight how every decision I made was also a portal, because the moment the decision was made, a miracle was sparked in the spirit realm. The ball was set into motion. That first domino that works as a catalyst to make all the other dominoes fall was hit. Listen, the moment you decide, you've already stepped into a different reality, and you're not waiting around for the 3D to catch up and show you evidence. You know it's already done. It's already yours. You're already there. So the only thing left to do is to be it. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to negotiate. There's nothing else to question. It's just done. Because the suffix side, like in the word pesticide, for example, means the killer of, or to kill off or cut off. So decide literally means to kill off all other options, to cut off uncertainty and reach a decision. There's no in-between state after a real decision is made, because no other option survived to compete with it. That doesn't mean you can't ever change your mind, by the way. But in this particular moment, you are deciding on this particular thing, and it's done. You get what I'm saying? So when I made the decision to be devoted to my business and this channel, I also had to decide simultaneously to let go of the struggle. I spent years struggling in my business, and it's not that I thought struggle was necessary or anything like that. It's just that I didn't expect it to be easy. I kept telling myself, I don't know anything about business, so I got to figure this out. This person said I have to work hard. This person says I need to do this. This person says I need to do that. And I didn't know that it really could just be easy. Nobody had really told me that until that one mentor in 2016 told me about terms and conditions. And that took hold for a while. But I didn't recognize that all I needed to do was create with joy, from joy. Like the Joseph Campbell quote, follow your bliss, right? So when I chose to create from joy and fun and what lights me up and what feels good, instead of what I felt like I had to do or what felt like struggle and pushing and forcing, that's when my business business started to feel blissful and joyful and exciting. And that's the kind of energy that creates worlds. That's the kind of energy that invites in everything you desire. So now I'm excited to see, and even more excited to show you what God does with that kind of energy. Like I told you guys, I'm living this out for you in real time. So you get to watch it all unfold. I'm a walking experiment right now, right? And I'm okay with that because that's really my calling. Like, that's just what I do. Because I know a lot of y'all, unfortunately, aren't really going to take this seriously until you see the results. I feel like y'all might listen to me and you might like me and hopefully you're taking in what I'm saying or whatever. But most of you won't really believe it until you actually see it, right? Because right now you're looking at my channel, you're like, oh, she's got 37 subscribers. Right now you don't see a lot happening because you don't see a ton of people watching or a ton of views or whatever. But when everything pops off, that's when people will start to pay attention. And that's okay. If you're a person who needs proof, that's cool. I have no judgment on that. But it actually takes people who have audacity, and it takes people who are willing to be what some people would call delusional. In my opinion, it's honestly, delusion is just a trendy word for faith, right? But we like to cute it up for the internet and stuff like that. So that's all good. Like people have these sayings like Delulu is a Salulu. I'm not against it. I like it, right? I'm with it because I'm one of those people. You can call me delusional. You can be like, Tiffany's crazy. But God works according to your faith. People who have faith and move when God says move, even when they don't know what the outcome will be, or even when they don't know what to expect, even when they don't have proof, God rewards people who are willing to step into the unknown and just say, okay, God, I hear you. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to do this anyway because I trust you and you're telling me to do it. I've always been that type of person. It's a part of who I am. I don't need proof. I don't care about proof. I am the proof. I am the evidence. I create the proof. Reality responds to me. Reality responds to my command, my vibration, my certainty, not the other way around. And you have to learn that you are the author and creator of your reality too. You are the proof. You are the evidence. You don't need the 3D to show you who you are or what you're capable of. You inform the 3D and it rearranges around the frequency that you're emitting. You make the reality bend to you. You make the 3D do what you tell it to do. As a matter of fact, that's all that's ever happening anyway, by the way. You're always the cause. The 3D is always responding to you and your frequency. So when you get on the right frequency and you stop being afraid and you start being more audacious and you decide that you're having the thing God promised you and you decide to go after it, and I don't mean go after it in hustle mode, I mean go after it in prayer mode and sitting in meditation mode, the stuff that people on the internet tell you can't do and that doesn't work. I've done it. I've proved it and I'm proving it again right now. Watch how it unfolds. Watch me model it for you, okay? And then you let God guide you to the right actions. That's when everything changes. That's when paradigms shift, okay? So you can sit and wait until you actually see me pop off because like I said, I know there are probably people who are watching and waiting to see what happens, and then everyone wants to know how you did it. Because one thing I noticed about people is that they don't really care about people or about things until they realize that everybody else cares about it. Then it's the cool thing to care about what that person is saying, or it's the cool thing to pay attention. It's the cool thing to want to be a part of whatever they're doing. And that's cool. Like I said, again, no judgment. You can wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting if that's what you're choosing. Just remember that it is a choice. And if that's the way you want to live your life, you have that right. But I don't choose to be a waiter. I'm done waiting. I'm done settling because I've seen and experienced enough miracles in my life to know that when I trust God enough to jump before the parachute opens, before I even know that there is a freaking parachute, miracles happen, okay? So you can be that person who jumps, or you can be somebody who lives your life in fear and decides that you're never going to move until you know what you want is possible. You can be the person who seeks proof or waits for proof, or you can just be the effing proof. And I know for me, it feels like sometimes that my life moves slower than other people's. I felt like that for a really long time. But what I had to realize is that I'm choosing to live my life that way. I'm choosing to live my life a certain way. And it's not necessarily even my choice, honestly, because, well, it is because of course I have to choose it, but I'm being guided. I'm choosing to allow myself to be guided in a way that says I don't have to rush. I can take it slow, that I can let God do the leading, and that I don't have to care about what's happening in the world. I don't have to care about who made it to their goal first. I don't have to care about who might feel like I'm moving slower than everybody else or who thinks whatever. I don't have to care. I'm focused on me and my journey. I'm not in a race or a competition with anyone. I'm not comparing myself with people on the internet. I used to do that, but I learned that it's a trap. It's a comparison trap that doesn't serve me. I don't need to care about who's doing what in what way because their way is not my way. And since I choose to be on God's payroll and on God's timeline, that I'm doing things me and God's way. I'm not willing to do anything outside of what I feel God is telling me to do or guiding me to do, especially not at this point in my life. I'm getting too old to be playing these games. I'm ready for my stuff. So I'm done playing. And before, I kept allowing myself to get caught up and I constantly felt lost and confused and I kept moving in and out of the process. But now I decided, no, I'm staying in this process with God So things might look crazy in my life right now. And believe me, they do. The craziest they've looked in over a year. And I'm just like, what is going on? And I could probably do some things that could fix it. I thought about lots of things. I was like, you know what? I could do this or I could do that, da, 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 da. I thought about all those different things. But every message that I'm getting from God says surrender. I need you to trust me. I need you to stay put. I don't need you trying to do all the things. I need you to rest. Right? And so I had to look at it. Do I want to be the person that has to fix everything in my life, or do I want to let God do the fixing? And I think that's really the question, because to be honest, it's really God's job at the end of the day. I know we think it's our job. It's not that we're not capable. And I think sometimes the world makes you feel like if you're not constantly trying to fix everything or do everything, or you're not going hard constantly or hustling or being busy or doing all the things, that you're not doing enough, that you're lazy. Faith without works is dead. But I'm not working. That's something I know for a fact. I'm doing a ton of work. Like, you'd be shocked to find out when you enter the realm, all the work that I do behind the scenes. I'm just choosing to do different work than what most people would choose to do. I'm choosing to do the work that I feel like God is guiding me to do, not what the world or the internet tells me I should be doing, not what survival mode tells me I need to be doing, not what the ego insists has to be done. I'm choosing to do things God's way. So if you're like me, it might feel like you move a little slower than everybody else. You might feel like you're being stretched and pulled back like a slingshot, like I talked about in the previous audio. But guess what happens when God releases you, though? When God releases you, you're launched forward into everything he promised you. The millions, the miracles, expeditiously, instantaneously. Everything that felt like it was pulling you backward is now the very force that is propelling you further than you could have gone on your own. Sometimes that's how things work. And you have to trust that process. If you're going to do this thing with God, like if you're going to be ride or die with God, if you're going to keep God as your center, you got to get used to this kind of stuff. Like, if I'm being really honest, I'll be like, this work is easier. It's easier to me because it's a softer life. Right? And I'm not saying that there isn't pain and heartache and frustration and disappointment and all of those things. I experience those things too, even choosing to stay in this God-centered space, in this surrendered life. It's not always easy. But to me personally, it's easier than the other stuff that's going on outside. And people can choose their path. Everybody gets to choose, right? But if you feel called to this path, then trust that, okay? Because I know with absolute certainty exactly what's happening in my life right now. And like I said, when everybody sees what I already knew was happening behind the scenes, it'll be like, oh, dang, Tiffany just popped off overnight. No, I didn't. This has been over a decade in the making. And that's why I really am glad that I got to go through this process in a way that you could see me live it out. So in this particular process, it's been a year, maybe 2. And I'll explain more about that in the next audio. But yeah, it'll look like overnight success. It'll look like I became a millionaire overnight, or that my following just magically grew out of the blue. It'll look like that. But just know that the work was always being done behind the scenes. And here's the part that matters most to you, because you probably don't really care about, my channel and stuff. I mean, like I said, people will care more when they see the things start popping off. But here's the best part and the most important part that you need to know. Mentors are cheat codes. So it won't have to take a decade for you. It doesn't have to take you that long. You still have work to do, of course, and you still have to allow God to take you through your own process, but you don't have to make every mistake I've already made. I can help you avoid spending 20 years learning what I've already learned. You get my 2 decades of trial and error and experience and wisdom compressed into months of implementation. And honestly, that's why I just love the way God brings everything full circle, because every portal in the realm was birthed through a decision that I made. The freedom portal exists because I decided freedom was available to me before I had any proof. The millionaire portal exists because I decided to trust what God told me before I had a plan or knew how it was all going to unfold. The power portal exists because I decided to claim my sovereignty before anyone else gave me permission. I made many, many decisions over the past year or 2. Those decisions opened doorways in my own life. And then God and I co-created an entire structure that not only mirrors exactly what I did, but also walks you through the entire process step by step. So you can now make your own decisions, create your own portals, and step through your own doorways using every portal in the realm as a frame. Yeah? All right, let me settle down a little bit. All right, because I'm done teaching. Let's do a quick little activation, okay? So as you may know, we've entered what is known as the Lion's Gate portal. Now, this is not stuff that I know a ton about. All I can tell you is that this portal is an annual astrological event that peaks on August 8th, okay? I've been paying attention to it for the past few years now. Many people see it as a symbolic season of transformation, abundance, and new beginnings. So basically, another portal, another opportunity to tell God what you are deciding, what you are claiming, and to be audacious focus and command what it is that you're ready to create. Whether you resonate with astrology or not, I love astrology. I love all of God's creation, especially the sun, the moon, the stars, all of it. But what I love most about this season is the symbolism and the collective energy surrounding it. There are millions of people right now, all over the world, taking time to pause, reflect, pray, set intentions, make decisions, and consciously step into their own new beginnings. I think there's something really beautiful and really miraculous about that. Anytime that many people come together with expectation and a willingness to move forward, I think it's a powerful invitation to make a decision that changes the trajectory of your own life. So here's what we're going to do, okay? First of all, you need to understand that your decision is the portal. Recognize what God has completed. Release the identity and the reality you've already grown past, right? That stuff is old news. That's yesterday. That's last week, last year, whatever, okay? Let that stuff go and receive the new beginning that's available to you now. Make an energetic and internal decision that requires no permission, validation, evidence, or proof. So I'm going to walk you through how to do this, okay? You're going to use this quote. I am simply deciding. Blank is happening. It's already done. It's already mine. I'm already here, okay? Remember earlier I said you're already there. That's because I'm talking to you. But when I'm talking to me, I used to say I'm already there, but then I was like, well, if I'm there, then I wouldn't be there. I'd be here. So I'm already here, right? Because that's what I told you. Your language is so important. God spoke the heavens and the earth into existence with his words. Everything we speak creates. And the better we get about speaking the right things, the better we get at manifesting, okay? This is a really, really powerful affirmation. I use it daily. And I dare you to choose 1 to 3 things you're deciding and speak this every day throughout this Lionsgate portal, which I think closes on the 12th of August, if I'm not mistaken. So roughly about 2 weeks. But if you don't see what you asked for in 2 weeks, that's not a sign that it's not going to happen, okay? That's not a sign that you need to give up. It's not a sign that you asked for too much and now God is not going to give it to you, or that you must have been crazy to think that God showed you this vision or that, it was meant for you. It's not the time for that. If you don't see it, keep speaking it, okay? When you don't see your manifestation in a certain amount of time, that's the time you go harder, right? So when I'm talking about going harder, I'm talking about inner work. I'm talking about prayer. I'm talking about speaking. That's the time that you keep speaking those things that are not as though they are. That's the time you make a decision again. You surrender again. You embody even more. See, that's how master manifestors create miracles consistently. They don't see delays as denial, because what you need to understand is that anytime you ask for something or anytime you put something out into the universe, there is rearranging that has to happen. It doesn't mean that it has to take time, or it doesn't mean that logic or a plan or any specific thing is required on your part. It just means that your patience is necessary, that your surrender is necessary, and then you follow the guidance that God gives you so that God can give you the best possible outcome for you and everyone else involved. Because I know sometimes all hell breaks loose, right? We talked about that in my story about manifesting my dream life in 6 months back in 2014. We're talking about it right now. All hell has broken loose in my life, but I'm okay with that though, because I don't make that mean anything about me. I don't make that mean that my manifestation is not happening. Oh, you know what? I'm crazy to think that God was actually telling me I was going to be a millionaire this year. What was I thinking? I make it mean that I need to keep trusting the process, okay? So if you don't see your manifestation, that doesn't mean stop. It means keep going. Whether it takes a month or 2 months, the rest of the year or 2 years or whatever, keep doing it, keep speaking. And that's how miracles happen. And the better you get at this, the less resistance you'll have, because you'll just know with certainty that your stuff is going to happen. So you begin to lower the resistance, which in turn allows your manifestations to come in faster. Okay. And the better you get at this, like I said, the more you will see how fast this actually works and how time literally is not even a factor. But remember, it has to be an actual decision. Are you willing to actually decide? Not a wish, not a hope, not a fantasy, not a maybe or future or off in the distance or, whatever. Like, no, it's just this is effing happening, period. You don't necessarily get to decide when, okay? You definitely don't get to decide how. You just get to decide that it is happening, no matter how long it takes, and that you're going to trust God in the process, okay? You decide, you surrender, you embody. Repeat. Every competing option is cut off. Every agreement with the former identity and reality is done. You have crossed the threshold and there's no turning back unless you allow it, okay? And here's the other really important part that you need to remember that I really want you to get. A decision isn't something that you just do once. You decide and you keep deciding. Every time doubt comes up, you decide again. Every time fear comes up, you decide again. Every time the 3D acts up and it's not showing you what you want and it's contradictory to what you know, because that's the really important part as well. When you make the decision, you have to know with certainty that what you said is happening, period. You have to know with certainty who you are and whose you are. And when you forget, you decide again. And when you don't feel like that, you decide again. You surrender again. You embody again, and you keep doing it again and again and again until you see the manifestation of your desire. There's nothing else to talk about, nothing else to question, nothing else to negotiate. Like I said, the decision is made. The miracle is in motion. The new reality is now yours to embody. All right? You are the miracle. You are the catalyst. You are the cause. You are the creator. Decided, surrendered, embodied. Done. Okay? Now, if you want to experience this type of miraculous millionaire frequency every day, or however often you choose, honestly, I would suggest every day, but that's just my personal suggestion. Join me in the Miraculous Millionaire Realm, where we practice this, where we live this, where we be this every single day. And can I just tell you from experience, this type of energy, this type of frequency every day collapses time, commands reality, and creates millions of miracles. So if you're ready, let's effing go. Okay? I can't wait to see you on the other side. I love you guys so much. If you've listened this far, please like, subscribe, hit that little notification bell, let YouTube know that you're feeling this. You want to see more videos. All right? I hope you're having a beautiful, miraculous day. I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Lots of love and miracles.